Well, we'll see if any of this works. It appears like there are some visual difficulties. Hey, there we go. Oh, nope. Maybe. Hey, got that part running. The video countdown did not play, though. Just the music is weird. I don't even know if you can hear me. Yep, apparently there's a little green light going off. There's a microphone stuck to me, so maybe that's doing the trick. Don't know. So tried something new this time and did not make an event for this. Also, don't really have much to talk about. The last live chat was just on Friday, so it wasn't even a whole week away. Tonight's live chat brought to you by 0241 Tactical. I'm wearing a boonie hat and a combat shirt from them in the awesome U.S. Forces camouflage pattern. I think they're opening up orders like right around now. They do a certain number of orders at the beginning of every month, and I believe I saw a post that said that they were doing that. Yep, there you go. No notice. I actually forgot to make one and then said the last minute, fuck it, we'll just see if anyone notices. And hello, sir. So yeah, I got some stuff from 0241. Got a smock light in U.S. Forces pattern and the shirt and the pants and a hat, and a helmet cover, because the U.S. Forces stuff is awesome. Hyper Stealth is the name of the company that came up with the pattern, and it's the only thing that seems to, although marginally, outperform AOR2 in the woods and under night vision. Steven, hello. Adam, hello. Everybody that else that may pop in, hello. I expect it to be a low traffic night since I didn't make an event for this one. Trying to see what announcements have had, like things that have crept up since last Friday. I did receive the mini target templates. So as of tomorrow, I will put a link up where you can buy a dry fire practice kit from this guy, and it'll have some miniature targets and the template to mark them up with the Tremis Dynamics scoring areas on the smaller template. We've always sold the larger template for IPSC style targets. And there might even be a package deal with a Blackbeard. So that could be a possibility as well. I'll put that up live on the website tomorrow. It's going to be like $20, and you'll get a little target template and 5 of the dry fire targets. Let's see what else happened since Friday. Not a lot. We had a shooting moving workshop, first live fire class of the year here in Pennsylvania. Had that on Saturday, and it has rained every single moment. Like it started right as we were wrapping up class. Like we had picked up the brass and tore down all the targets and like cleaned up all our shit, and it started to rain, and it's been raining ever since. So it is now Wednesday. It's been raining since Saturday, pretty much nonstop. So as you can see back here over my shoulder, there is a the Tremis Dynamics signature rifle has an LPVO on it. Oh, hello, Klaus. It has not been zeroed because I didn't want to go out in the fucking 42 degrees in rain weather. So tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. Crystal, hello, dear. I have a holster here for you. And I think we still have a Christmas type Yule present for Simon. I stumbled across it today, moving some things around, and just saying, you should visit. Colt Manny, hello, sir. Let's see. So what else happening? Next week, the live chat will be normal, but Monday we are going to Midwest Industries. So that'll be cool. We'll get some footage and film a video up there. It'll probably be driving back Tuesday. So it might even go live before the live chat on Wednesday. I will try to get that out. Talking to the guys up there. And I don't even know who we're talking to, like who all we're talking to. And then we're going to go visit Criterion Barrels. Maybe shoot a video with them as well, because they're up in that same neck of the woods. Tim Larson, hello, sir. Saturday, we have a invite-only night vision event. And then we're leaving Sunday for Midwest. So that'll be pretty cool. The invite-only night vision event is... it's invite-only because we vetted people that are competent to walk around with loaded guns in the woods at night under nods and then shoot them. And not the people in the woods, the guns, the loaded guns. So if you didn't get a invite, it's because, well, maybe you haven't been vetted. We do have some nods class coming up, a nods workshop, and we have nods study group. And that's a good way to get into the study group, is to come, be in the workshop. And like, hey, he seems pretty squared away. He can come to the study groups. Then we see him in the study groups and go, he's ready for the invite-only stuff. So that kind of thing happening. Stephen, hello. TJ, hello. Good to see you all. So that's the updates there. The low light, white light stuff is in May, like a Memorial Day weekend. We were shooting a moving workshop, a pistol workshop on Saturday, and a pistol white light workshop that night, and a rifle white light workshop the following night. June 8th, we have a nods carbine workshop. And I think the next study group with nods is in September. But we have a couple invite-only things between now and then as well, including this week. And if you feel like you should have had an invite and you didn't hear about it, shoot me a message and I'll let you know whether you missed an invite or you just hadn't earned one yet. Starting to put together some stuff for the muster, because it's coming up in August 3rd. The weekend before, Andrew from Combat Art Training and Jay from Preelectus are doing a joint patrolling class up here. And then Monday, there is nothing, a recovery day from a patrolling class. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the Science of Dynamic Violence. That is another collaborative class between Sonny Puzikas and I. Then Friday is the Crucible, which is a force on force class with Sonny and I and some other special guests. Also Friday evening, if you're not attending the Crucible, Jonathan Aldridge from Iron Forge Consulting will be up here doing a trauma class Friday night. Saturday is the muster with a lot of cool people. Then on Sunday, there is to the west of here, a few miles, is Sonny is doing a conflict management class. And to the east of here, a few miles, Dave Biggers is doing day one is the Red Zone live fire, and day two, which will be Monday, is the Red Zone force on force. So there is like 10 days of training, all back to back to back to back to back with, and you can't take it all. Like there's more training than you have time to take. So that all is happening up here in August. So that'll be pretty cool. I think after August, there is Dynamic Week 6 and a couple of immersive classes. And those would be the last multi-day classes I run for a while, because next year, focusing on one-day workshops and one-day classes. So that's the plan. Uncle Guns, hello, sir. See what else is going on. Was at the doctor's office today, like a regular scheduled thing. and 194 pounds. It's been a couple of years since I've been under 200. Uh, so I'm down like almost like 40 pounds since the muster. Um, so all that's cool news. Um, let's see. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. Iroquois foreskin. Thank you for the compliments on my U.S. Forces camouflage provided by 0241 Tactical. Camo pattern developed by Hyper Stealth Technologies. That's the name of them. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'm looking at my notes. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's all the notes. All the updates. Not a lot of traffic and not a lot to talk about. Again, it's only been a couple days since the last live chat. Yeah. So what do you guys got? What's going on out there in the tactical world? I heard a new term today about people in the tactical training community that struggle to perform simple tasks and then have meltdowns about it. Tactically autistic. I thought it was clever. I don't know how I'm going to integrate it into my lexicon, but it will be my attempt to do so. The clear PMags. So last year it SHOT. So 2023 SHOT. They released like 12 things. I think the last one came out in October. They showed them, but they rolled them out every so often. This year, they'd only released like 6 things that I can recall. Although I think there was a DACA product that was just released that wasn't at SHOT, but I can't remember what the fuck it was. I saw an ad and was like, I don't remember seeing that. But I may have just missed the memo. But I think the clear PMags will be the last thing that they release from this year's SHOT stuff. That's my guess. Oh, you got yourself some A1. Nice. I have some A1 as well. A couple magazines worth. I also have, it's not just some 855 A1. I have some M80 A1, which is the 308 tungsten core / tipped stuff. So that's pretty cool. I only have a few rounds of that. I don't even know where it hits compared to the 0 that I have because I don't have enough rounds to tell. By the time I got figured out where it hits in relation, I'd be out. So I'm just holding on to it for something. I just don't know what yet. Maybe if we ever get another bulletproof windshield, maybe I'll shoot it with that and just use it as a test and see what it takes rounds wise to go through that. With 855 A1, it's the 5.56 round. It did take one less round to go through a bulletproof windshield than it did with green tip. And the green tip took one less round to penetrate than FMJ's did. So I think it was 6, 5, and 4. It might have been 5, 4, and 3. Maybe it was 5, 4, and 3. 5 rounds of 193, 4 rounds of green tip, and 3 rounds of A1 on a bulletproof windshield, like out of an armored SUV. Oh, you got some 308 tungsten tip too. Mm-hmm. You know what was asked? Strangely enough, when I found this bizarre. So we just recently have released the Midwest Industries Trema signature rifle, and in my mind, when this pistol brace shit gets settled, like finally settled, and we're not like going, oh, well, the injunction, be overturned, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll do a pistol and we can put a brace on it. Because I can't see, the brace companies aren't making a ton of braces, and the manufacturers don't want to make a ton of pistols and have them become illegal tomorrow on the whim of a judge with a pen. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be the cool next thing to do, 10.5-inch with a Magpul BTR brace. And nobody has said, oh, yeah, that's cool. They all went, hey, when are you doing a 308? I was like, I don't know. I didn't know we were. So who knows? In fact, my 308, I don't even have the newest Midwest rail on my 308. I have the old Midwest rail on my 308, like the first M-Lock one. But I have a newer one. I don't even have that on mine. Like, that's how out of the 308 loop I am, which is why I was surprised. People were like, it should be a Tremis 308. What are my thoughts on the Ukrainian-Russia crap? So you know how, like, if you had a serial killer and a serial rapist, like, in a locked room in a death match, how you'd just look through the window and be like, yeah, whatever. That's pretty much how I view it. There's no good guys involved on either side of that. If we look to, strangely enough, if we look for either of those countries, have either of them ever been an ally of our country? If we go all the way back to 1945, at least through most of that and a few years prior, Russia was our ally. Ukraine's never, ever been our ally. And Russia only was when we were both fighting against Ukraine, who were a Nazi Germany puppet satellite state. So, like, neither one of those countries is okay. Steven thinks the pistol's a cool idea. I also think the pistol's a cool idea, because then you could SBR it and put a good stock on it if you wanted. PSA lower got for dirt cheap. I just got a PSA lower, but not an AR lower. I got a micro dagger lower, which is the G48 PSA pistol. Because I won't buy a Glock. Told James I wouldn't buy a Glock way back in like 2005, so I still won't. But I will buy a PSA. I couldn't get a complete gun because they haven't had any complete guns in stock, as far as I know, ever. And I didn't buy a slide because they didn't have the frames in stock forever. And then the frames came in stock, so I bought one, and it was under $100. And now the slides aren't in stock. And I got an email saying the slide was in stock, and by the time I clicked on the link, it was out of stock again. So I still don't have the whole gun, but I do have a micro dagger frame. Let's see what else we got going on. Like, anything in the training world? I don't think so. Or the gun world at large, also don't think so. Yeah, I don't. That's kind of a slow week, really. RJ, hello, sir. The man who now EDCs a short barrel rifle. Opinion on the dagger. So the dagger compact dagger, which is the Glock 19 size one, like the fat bodied mags. They sent me one. I shot it. It worked fine. I lent it out. It worked fine. I then gave it away at the very first muster because I needed a grand prize and I needed one that I didn't put any money into. So that one worked out great. I had no issues with it. It does not fit Glock 19 holsters. it needs its own holster. So there's that kind of, and the micro dagger does fit Glock 48 holsters, so that they improved on. The dagger compact had, so like, it wasn't a better trigger than a Glock, but it wasn't a worse trigger than a Glock. It was kind of smushy, like it was, but it didn't have that horrible, like 9-pound fucking click at the end when the hammer dropped or when the striker dropped. Like it, my Glock 19, my Gen 3 Glock 19, I also didn't pay for. It was given to me. It had not a New York trigger, had a stock trigger in it. At 10,000 rounds, that trigger was 8.1 pounds or something like that. And like if you looked at like a graph, it was like, 1 pound for the take up, and then like 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. And then right at the end, it went from 5 to 8 pounds. And then when as soon as it went off, it had like it would drop to 0, and then like it would like smack your finger. So there was like another like 5 pound, almost like a forced reset thing, but it didn't push it out far enough to reset. Terrible trigger. I put an Apex in it, and it went to like 5 pounds. And I was like, God, this is awesome. So now the dagger trigger didn't have that horrible 8-pound thing. It was just springy, like I was pushing a pile of mashed potatoes. But it was nowhere near as heavy at the end. Oh, RJ is going to put a comp on the end of his SBR that he EDCs. M&P full and carbon ETS mags do not fit. Is that the M&P with the Glock thing? So it'll take Glock mags? Because like I know ETS doesn't make M&P mags, do they? Oh, maybe ETS does make M&P mags. I've only ever seen them for Glock, and they suck dick at that too. I have some, and I painted the base plates blue, and they are in the pile of sim only magazines, like for UTM, because I would never trust. I wouldn't even take them to the range. Yeah, now I'm catching up on the comments. All right. Yeah, I had no idea they made M&P mags. And I was an M&P guy, but I just used the M&P mags. For the most part, I used to be a big fan of saying, if it isn't a 1911, use factory mags. But now I'm a big fan of, if you have a Glock, it should have the Palmetto State Armory magazines. And by having a Glock, I mean like a 48 or a 43X. Not any of the other ones, because I don't care about those anymore. Brian, hello, sir. Yeah, I was getting regular like Smith and Wesson brand M&P mags, new in the still in the wrapper, for like $21. So like the ETS mags would have to be fucking cheap, like $12 or less, in order for me to buy them instead of Smith mags. Turtle Castel, hello, sir. Good to see you as well. You guys will get to see something cool from Turtle shortly. Yeah, that's one way to go with that. Some Iron Pig awesomeness. I almost wore the Iron Pig hat today, which is currently sitting right over there. But then I got this cool U.S. Forces one and decided to go with that. Still raining. We're not really going to comp the 34. That's good. Yeah, when I was getting Smith mags for like $20, and then I switched to Sig and had to pay. I don't even remember how much my first 365 mags were. I think I have about 12 or 14 of the 12 rounders. One has the Mag Guts 14 round conversion in it, which has worked flawlessly. But it was $30, and I think it was a $35 mag. So I ended up with like a $65 magazine, and I was just to hold 14 rounds. So like that was the one in the gun. And I never bought a second Mag Guts kit because I just didn't want to spend the money on it. Especially because I was still like just running that 114 rounder over and over to see if it was reliable. And then the macro came out, and the magazines were like $60. And I was like, well, I could get a $65 14 round magazine or a $60 17 round magazine. I'm going to go with that. $210 for 365 mags. Holy fuck. I want to say directly from Smith, they're $40 for the 12 or 10 rounders. 17 rounders, I think, are $50. They were $60 when they first came out. And I may be mistaken on that, but I don't buy them directly from Sig. Every once in a while, I get a discount. Like when you take a class, like I took the armorers class from them, and they gave me a one-time 15, I think, percent off anything I order coupon. It was good for like 90 days after the class was over. So I bought some magazines at that point. So I bought those direct from Sig. The nutsack drum. Does anybody make a drum for? What's funny is I was at my local shop, and a dude there had the Glock compatible Magpul drum, like the DU whatever it is that has like a 9mm, and it fits PCCs that run Glock mags, but doesn't fit Glocks. Like it said, it's like the Glock feed lip geometry, not compatible with Glock pistols. I don't. Is it because they make the mag shorter so it doesn't stick so far out of the mag well, the PCC? I don't know. I didn't even know such a thing existed. I just assumed fit like a G19 as well. But apparently right on the box it said it didn't. Oh, damn. Yeah. $35 to $40 for M&P mags. I mean, I was paying that for the 17 rounders back in maybe 2010. I was paying under $30 for the 17 rounders after that. I think the 15s, when they first came out, I bought I got my 2.19 and the second 2.19. So I had like 4 or 5 of the 15 rounders, and I think I only bought like 2 extra because my reloads, I would just bring the 17 rounders. Oh, see, look at that. Steven and Turtle both confirmed that my suspicion was correct. I have one Magpul drum, a D60. Don't even know what they cost to know if it's worthwhile because someone traded it like towards class tuition. It was still in the box. It works fine. So I don't. That's all my experience. I don't like it because it weighs a ton. I suppose there'd be some use for it if I ever get me a machine gun. Maybe then I'd put one on it because the fucking belt fed upper is $6,000. Fuck, $6,000 for a belt fed upper. It fits on AR from Fight Light Industries. It used to be called the Shrike, and I remember when it was the Shrike, it was like $3,500, and I was like, fuck that. Like maybe if the price came down, and it fucking nearly doubled. But I have handled them, and they're cool. They're shit. But for $6,000 on top of whatever a transferable M16 would cost, fuck all that. The downside of the drum $140. That was a bit steep. RJ says maybe for initial contact. The problem with initial contact is it's the one you got to carry to fuck around. It's heavy. It's 2 magazines worth of bullets. Yeah, Adam, the Shrike uppers are cool. They're just so fucking expensive. I play with one last year at Dynamic Week 5. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch the mic. And it was pretty cool. But another dude brought a transferable machine gun to class. The problem is you can't just drop a Shrike or Fight Light upper on a regular AR lower. It's got to have a modified bolt catch. So in the paddle for releasing, which is stupid to begin with, they got to cut that off because it sticks up where the upper is wider than the lower. So it hits the bolt catch paddle. And so the kit comes with a bolt catch. It doesn't have it on it, or you can just fucking lop one off. But the dude that had the machine gun had the bolt catch, and then the dude that had the Fight Light upper needed one without the bolt catch, and his lower had a lower without it, but like they weren't the same, because I would have liked to have seen the Fight Light Shrike upper on the full auto lower. That'd have been the bee's knees. I promise you all, if I ever get a machine gun, I will cut the bolt catch paddle off so that if anybody has a belt fed upper, we can just drop it right on and go hee hee and giggle. Yeah. Shrike upper, correct lower, auto sear. Very cool. I would love to play with such a device. And like the sad part is, okay, so the belt fed upper is expensive because that's what they charge to make it. But the correct lower should be the same price as a regular lower. But now we're looking, what the hell's a M16 go for? Like an M16 lower? Does anybody out there know? Like, are they into that kind of thing? What's the going price for a full auto lower? And then add $7,000 onto the top of 6,500 or whatever. And that's the price to have that. And it shouldn't be. Like, it just totally shouldn't be. Now I'm going to spend that kind of money and I want belt fed. I really would rather have a Stoner 63A or the Knight's Armament, whatever they call their light machine gun. Kyle, I think M16s are higher than 10K. I don't know. It depends if any of my guys that are into that kind of shit are watching, if they can tell me. Pop on Vic or Josh. They seem to keep tabs on that kind of thing. Well, there we go. M16s are in the upper 40s. Mark Box says I look like a fisherman. I'm going to take that as a compliment from the last fish class that Mark was in. Like, I am the fisherman. Mark, you did ask a question somewhere. I read it, and it said something about Texas, and I don't remember where I saw the question so that I could answer it. And I don't remember the details of the question. Like, did you say for next year, like 2025, or did you say for this year? Was I coming? Because I was driving or something when I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'll answer it, but then I missed it. Hey, RJ says there's one on Gunbroker right now, 34,000. The fishmonger, not the fisherman. What about the Fisher King? Wait, is that Jesus? No, I don't want to be that. Twofold. One, he was a hippie, so he smelled bad. And two, like, he finally got out of this world and then he had to come back. When I'm gone, I want to be gone. Well, Texas in 2024. Yes, I have the full immersion class in October. October in Del Rio. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the range. And all 3 days are at the range. There's no going back to a hotel. So that is on the books. If you would like me to come back to Texas and at your place, just shoot me a text and we'll figure it out. Tom Hollyby, hello, sir. Anal Fisher. I should name a gun Judas. I name all my guns. Man, Knob Creek machine gun shoot, $9,600 for an M16A1. Like if you look at it now, you're like, yeah, we're gonna mortgage the house, baby. Yes, Del Rio is a war zone, which is why we're spending all 3 days at the range. Like we're gonna be out patrolling in the dark, just like the foreign invaders are. Like, well, think of the opportunities. I had to invite Mr. Foreskin to go to Northern Michigan. I just haven't been able to make it work. When I say Northern Michigan, I mean the Upper Peninsula too, like a hunting cabin for a weekend trip. So, but didn't fit. Like my free time is usually when nobody wants to go to the Upper Peninsula of fucking Michigan. Steven says, how do you come up with your gun names? He sucks at that. I hear a name of something somewhere and it sounds cool, and I just note it in my head that that's in my pool of stuff for guns. And they come from like, random stories that I've read or movies or whatever, historical characters and that kind of thing. And I was like, man, what a cool name. I'll name a gun that. And then there's times when people are like, hey, what's the name of your 308? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Like I named it and I don't remember. So then I had to make a list. By the way, the name of the 308 is Mephistopheles. So that was from the first edition Dungeons and Dragons. I think it was the Monster Manual 2. Might have been the Fiend Folio. Is there ever a good time to go to the Upper Peninsula? I mean, it's better than Detroit. The southeastern part of Michigan is way worse than the Upper Peninsula. Mark mentions the BBC. Some people call that decoupling. I guess there's some sort of dirty joke in there about if your girlfriend gets some BBC, there'll be some decoupling. Like you won't be a couple anymore. I don't know. Give me time. I'll work on it. YouTube probably flagged me for that, for hate speech. TJ says the guns are named after anime girl names. I don't even know of any anime girl names. Lisa Hunter. That was from like Robotech in the 80s. That was anime. But I do actually have one of my rifles is named after a character from a soap opera that my mom used to watch that I don't even know much about. It all has to do with the country of Bulgaria. And it's my AK-74, which is Bulgarian. You forgot, I guess. I did forget a lot of shit. But I didn't forget the BBC. Derek Smith says to Mark Box, don't you have a job? Turns out he does. Almost didn't. Almost didn't. I tried to get a bunch of illegals registered because now you can register with without ID in a bunch of states, including my own, because that sounds legit. And I think Texas is on that list too. I saw that 3 states had a large influx, and I think it was Pennsylvania, Texas, and I can't figure out. There was 3, and it had something to do with registering people without ID. You could be a illegal immigrant as long as you applied for something. It would give you some sort of like registration number, and you could use that to register to vote or some bullshit. But we almost got ourselves a new sheriff in Nacottle County. There you go. Binford. More power. Oh, man. What was the, like, 2 bonus points to whoever can tell me the name of the chick that played the Binford girl before I think of it. And not the popular one, not the whore, the other, the good looking one. Debbie Dunning. That's it. I don't remember what character she played. Too late. No bonus points for you guys. I can't really name a rifle after her though. Heidi. Yeah, she played Heidi. See, the damn delay got you guys. By the time I saw your reply, I'd already thought of it. Well, I didn't think of the character's name, but I did think of Debbie Dunning. Man, it took you guys a while to spell Heidi. Like Colt and Mark had to take their 2 guesses and mesh them together, like we would all do with Heidi. I mean, yep, one point for Mark. He says for coming up with the character name. I'm gonna have to Google her in a minute. Teamwork. Oh, that's like a song from Tenacious D. So now we got all sidetracked on Debbie Dunning and BBCs, and this plays going downhill fast. This is the professionalism you get at Tremis Dynamics. And we're going to have classes in war zones and man, and it's 8:47 already. Fine. For having nothing to talk about, we've drugged this on quite a bit. And I didn't even announce that it was happening. I'm like, woohoo. All right, so anything else you guys want to chat about? We're just going to talk like porn innuendos the whole evening. For real, he hears it's bad in Del Rio. My guys in Del Rio haven't really mentioned anything in particular, but if that's where you're talking about hearing it, that it's bad. But we'll find out when we're down there out. I almost said in the woods, but like Del Rio doesn't have woods. It's funny when I'm down there, like, oh, those trees over there. I'm like, there ain't no fucking trees around here. Like, yeah, that green stuff. I'm like, those are shrubs. Like, those are bushes. But we'll be out in those bushes, and we'll see how bad it is out there in the dark with our night vision. And yeah, and you probably heard this, but the general masses may not have. We were out there doing a night class once, like a white light pistol class. It was force on force, the diagnostics class. And we had a guy came and he was doing some drone footage of the class during the day. And when we did the night portion, he flew his drone up, and it's like as soon as the drone cleared the berm, Jim, the host, his phone rang, and it was his buddy in Border Patrol who said, "Hey, are you guys flying a drone out there?" And Jim's like, "Yeah, we're getting some photos at the range or some video or whatever." And he's like, "How did you know? Did you see it?" And the Border Patrol dude said, "Yeah, our drone saw your drone the moment that it took off." I'm like, "Oh, like they got anti-drone drones." But apparently, like the coyotes, they use drones to try and find where Border Patrol is so they know which way to get people across the border. So then Border Patrol uses drones to look for drones. Rocks and shit, exactly. Have I ever had Voodoo Ranger Juice Haze IPA? No, I have not. I also don't like IPAs because I'm not a fan of the flavor of hops. Hops don't belong in beer. Hops were added to beer by the English, not really known for their beer, but it was so that the English could transport their beer from England to India. That's what the I in uh, IPA stands for. And they put the hops in it so that the beer wouldn't spoil on the long ship journey down around Africa. So it wasn't like anyone wanted the flavor of hops, it was just a preservative. And it tastes like smashed asshole. So I'm not a fan of IPAs or anything with an excessive amount of hops. Mr. Bulletin, hello, sir. So yeah, nix the hops, nix the IPAs. In fact, for a guy whose signature beer is touted as the best tasting beer ever by at least 5 different people, that counts for something, right? I must have some taste in beers. It's weird because I prefer cocktails to beer, which is why my beer tastes like rum. But it's kind of like appendix carry. I don't like appendix carry, so I designed the most comfortable appendix holster to alleviate the not liking appendix carry. Same with the beer. Not a big beer guy when I can have liquor, so I helped them develop a beer that tastes more like liquor. Interesting. You're not gonna drink the IPAs. Look at that. So that's where we stand on that stuff. There was something else. Oh yeah, I told you guys about the target templates. It seems like there was something else last week, like on Saturday. It's like, oh, I can't wait till the live chat, and I'll tell everyone. I don't remember what it was. Adam likes IPAs that have fruit. Fruit is good. Fruit is nature's alcohol. Like it turns alcoholic all by itself. And Mr. Foreskin says the holster most comfortable. That's what happens when you get a guy that doesn't like appendix holsters to design an appendix holster. Speaking of holsters, I got something new to try out. The Blade Tech Mount Mini. So it's a small disc-shaped attachment that you put on the holster and then the one on like your belt or your drop leg or whatever. And it offers rotation, which I don't necessarily care about, but it's like a quarter of the size of a Safariland QLS and half the price. So that might be pretty cool for like if you're going to do a removable holster, like that you would want to be able to take off your drop leg, which most people do that for stupid reasons. The taking it off of your drop leg, if you wear a drop leg, which most people don't need to wear, but if you wear one, I don't know what you need to take the gun off of it for, but if you have different types of guns that you want to be able, don't want to buy like 5 war belts and 5 drop legs so you can run your Glock 19 when you're teaching cops that run Glocks, and then your 1911s when you're teaching the Delta Force guys that run, they don't run 1911s, but you get what I'm going at. That's a good reason to have like the QLS system. But the Blade Tech thing looks like it could be a real winner for cost less and much smaller. Like it isn't such a big chunky thing. And if you wanted to have it rotate, you could change the angle, but I don't know about all that. Oh, RJ doesn't own the gun that he bought the Trempendix for, and they don't make them for fat guns. Well, that's because, I mean, you can be a big fan of Glock, and that's fine. Uh, the Glock 48 with Palmetto State Armory mags is probably the gun I would recommend right behind all of the 365 models and just ahead of the Shield Plus models. And that would be it. Like that's my whole list of recommended guns right there. All right, so Rob, RJ uses the QLS for like taking it all apart at the end of the day, packing it up. Also makes sense. Um, some guys run the QLS because it gives them the like they want to offset like it out away from their body some, and it'll give you like a quarter to 3/8 of an inch of sticking out just by bolting a QLS on. Uh, so that's okay because like technically most of the drop leg holsters you get are dropped, offset, and canted because once they offset them, the bottom goes into it, touches your leg or thigh or whatever. And so you get like three different ways to make the gun easier to get your hand on while it's in the holster or clear gear. Uh, I like in some instances, uh, if I'm, got like a plate carrier with a bunch of shit on it, I'm okay with dropped some. I like not a minimal drop and a minimal offset, but some offset's fine too. But I don't like the cant. So I have a True North uh, MHS multi-holster MHA multi-holster adapter, modular holster adapter uh, with a QLS on it, but on the back of the MHA from True North, I have one of the Raven concealment appendix wedges, the one that's on the Trempendix holster. Raven makes those. I have one of those bolted to the back of the MHA, so it's dropped about probably an inch. It's offset about quarter 3/8 because of the QLS, but it's not canted at all. The cant might be okay if you didn't have the offset because it would still put the grip about the same place, but it makes the draw go that way instead of this way. Uh, so I prefer no cant. Um, the TJ asked about the bail and the nub on a safari land. Is it too much? I would either one is fine by me. I don't know what position people are in that one of those gets defeated enough that they think they need another one. Um, because like prison guards don't carry pistols like when they're around the prisoners. Uh, and that's where I think you're at the spot where you're more likely to have a bunch of people trying to take your gun away. Uh, the nub's fine, the bail's fine. Like the old 6004s just had the bail, but on the first wave, just running the bail has been fine. I actually that's what I used when I took the pistol qual uh, to be a what the hell did my wallet's downstairs. I got my ID card today, and it says I'm a certified private agent with firearms. Uh, so that certification, when I did the pistol qual last week, I was running the Pantac holster with the just the bail, and I was pretty happy with having just the bail. And it works opposite of the Safari Land bail. So the thing that sticks up that you hit with your thumb on a Safari Land, you push it forward, and the bail goes forward. And on this one, you pull it back, and the bail goes forward. And what I like about it, I'm going to go off frame for just a moment because I'm going to grab that cert gun. Cert gun, YouTube, it's not real. It just shoots lasers. I do it this way. No, I guess either way, my thumb isn't going to be on the side that you can see. So when you push the button forward, which people think, oh, that's the way I want to go with it. The problem is equal pressure this way is that way. Kind of like when you shoot a gun, recoil. The amount you feel this way is the amount of pressure that went that way too. So when you push against it, it wants to push your other four fingers the other way. With the one that goes what we call backwards to Safariland, which I think the companies that made those aftermarket bales went backwards to avoid Safariland's patent. But when I put my thumb on it and I close my thumb, it also pulls my hand. It's like putting your thumb here and pulling, like it drags your hand higher as opposed to pushing it away. So I actually kind of like that better than the Safariland style bales on the old 6004s. Oh yeah, Safariland's model numbers are something. So my last 6004, I carried an M&P with a TLR1 on it in the holster. The model number, I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was for a 1911 with a TLR1, and it just worked fine, which worked out well for me. But trying to find, because that was when I switched from a 1911 to M&P, so 2007 maybe. I was like, oh look, I already have a holster that fits somehow miraculously, and it was the right everything. But when someone asked about it, like they had stopped making that model number, and then trying to find one for an M&P with a TLR1 from the newer models, I couldn't. It was like the catalog it's almost like the Glock Armorer's Manual, where it just has all these different part numbers for different generations of things. And it's like, wow, they could have just made it way easier. Swears by Blackhawk type holsters and says Blackhawk holsters have retention. They're just finger retention, which usually ends up with shooting yourself. You want a SIRT pistol? This is the 107, which is the full size M&P version. I put big dots on it, and it has the 2.0 backstrap because the one it comes with is red, but it's slick as shit, and I wanted it grippier. It's okay. Like nothing to write home about. The take-up laser is off, and just the fire laser, because there are two lasers on that on SIRT guns, and you can adjust the trigger, but it still sucks. It has a weighted mag. It's okay to practice with. I do a bunch of dry fire with it, and I got my dry fire targets spread up around the room. TJ can confirm they're all over the place, as are a couple of Bob and got another dummy thing over there to like show off whenever I do videos on clothes. But there's other stuff coming out that'll be pretty cool that I think is cooler than this full-blown NLT SIRT gun. Which now rumor is they might be doing a 365 SIRT gun, but it's still just a rumor. But I might try this other product that might be coming out. The M&P SIRT gun does not come with a plastic slide version like the Glock 17 does. I don't know if the 19 comes with a plastic version or not. Because like you can get like a Gen 5 19 or a Gen 3 17, and there's a 320, the M&P, and then the little pocket gun that's like half Shield, half Glock 43, half Sig 365, half Hellcat. It doesn't fit any of the holsters for any of those. The only one that comes in plastic is Glock, and I don't know if both Glocks come in it. So the M&P one's a bit more expensive because it's the metal slide version. The red laser is cheaper than the green laser, but I like red lasers for pistols, green lasers for rifles, because I'll do stuff and film it to test things, and then I know instantly when I'm watching the film whether it was the pistol or the rifle. Like if I'm put the camera on the target to see what the results are from different techniques I'm trying, and then I don't have to, like, I can keep the audio off, because what I'll do is when I'm filming, like say I'm on my treadmill and I'm trying different walking techniques, I'll say out loud what I'm trying, But when I have all the thumbnails on the memory card and I put it in my computer, I can look at the thumbnail and I see the little green dot, and I'm like, all right, that's a rifle one. I'll put it over here, and that's a pistol one. I'll put it over there, and then I'll go back and do all my research to my results. Javier, hello, sir. I don't think it's going to be a Tremis retention holster, but First Wave is going to make the Pantac, which is, I have one right here. It doesn't have the bail on it because I took it off to put it on a 365, a macro holster. But this is the Pantac holster for the M&P. And then you can see it has the holes for mounting the bail, but I didn't have 2 bails, so this one came off and went on the other holster, but it will look like so, like half of a taco holster and half of a pancake holster, hence the Pantac. I did ask for it this way in the front. Like, I don't know if you can see that it's angled like the instructor holster, because it lets less shit like get hung up, like more things that hit the holster and deflect off of it instead of while you're wearing it, shit getting caught between you and the holster. It also gives you a good spot to bolt a knife onto, which my macro holster has a Tops K-Bar collaborative knife bolted in there. So it's coming, but I want to fuck around with that Blade Tech mount versus the QLS mount and see maybe if it just will have both sets of holes in the back, because the QLS has like the Safariland 3 hole pattern. I don't even know what the Blade Tech pattern is, but maybe on the mold itself, when the holster is made, it'll have the 3 Safariland holes and the whatever holes are required for the Blade Tech. So you have your choice. If I like the Blade Tech. Yeah, and even before it comes out, RJ, if you're around for study groups or workshops, classes, et cetera, when I see you, if you remind me, I'll make sure I have one with me that you can check out. So updates on the MI gun, it is right there. I just Adam, I see what you did there. Also a big fan. Yeah, I'll bring it to that. I'll bring it to the nav. Of course, that's way out in June. So if you come to anything before that, let me know. We got some workshops like with white lights and stuff. And I think there's even like some Jerseyites coming over for those. Just saying. In May, I believe, Memorial Day weekend. But anyhow, back to Mark. So on the gun, I have on the Instagrams, maybe on the Facebooks too, I had put a Holosun on it and zeroed it and got some great groups with just a Holosun. It now has a primary arms SLX 1-8 low power variable optic in it in a Midwest Industries mount. They gave us that optic some years ago, so it's kind of bounced around a bunch of rifles. But I really like to see what that barrel can, like what I can get out of it if I can see the target better. So I want to put the 8 power on it. We'll go see if I can get a little more accuracy out of it with irons and with a red dot. I was getting 3-shot 3/8 of an inch groups at 50 yards. So that's a 3/4 MOA gun in theory, if you do the math, running a non-magnified red dot and the same size group with iron sights. And like at 50 yards without magnification, it's hard to see the fucking aiming point, let alone keep a good group. So I obviously was doing mildly adequate, and the gun was tip top. So my goal with 8 power is maybe see if I can, what we can get out if I can see the target better. Probably be worse, because now all of a sudden I can see the fuck ups I'm making. So it's been running great. We used it at the shooting and moving workshop, which I had to add some lubricant to it, some ALG very thin grease. I had not added lubricant to it since I got it, and so I did, and ran great. And I put a Surefire on it and some rail covers and a sling. So been running okay. Sorry, RJ, about the free weekends. I don't. I have something every weekend of April and May. There's no way none of them are your free weekends. I'm just fucking with you. It's okay. Javier, yes, Steven, I'll bring it to Fish 5. I'm bringing it to every live fire class. I'll probably even bring it to Fish, like the regular fishes, the non-live fire fishes, and let people run that with a Blackbeard if they want to try it. Javier says the LPVO ain't ever coming off. It will, because, for instance, if somebody sends me a new optic to try out, like that one when I got it, or the Hollow Sun when I got it, or the Shield, or the first MRO, et cetera, I'm going to put it on that rifle. That rifle is going to be my test bed. So anytime I get new shit to try out, I'm probably going to put it on the signature rifle. I wasn't really going to do a 13.9 or a 14.5 just because the idea was to put a flash hider on it, just an A2 flash hider. So if people needed a specific muzzle device for their suppressor, they could. And if they sell it as a 14.5, they have to either sell it as an SBR, a pistol with a brace on it, or they have to pin and weld it at the factory, and then you've got to drill it out at home. Like, they could not sell the gun with a 14.5 and a non-pinned flash hider without a tax stamp. And if we just pinned an A2 on it, people will get it and fucking not want to run a like a Gemtech Halo, which fits on an A2 flash hider and is a great can, by the way. They'll have something else they're using and then be pissed. So I don't necessarily foresee selling the gun other than 16-inch or pistols once the brace thing gets settled. Now, pistols, you could get it with a 14.5 or a 13.9. Then you could pin and weld and put a stock on it. Oh, Steven, yes, the Pantac. I'll have it there. I actually brought it to the last fish class too. So, but I took the M&P holster off and put this one on it so I could use the cert gun. Because the one thing I don't like about the cert gun sometimes comes in handy, and I'll show you what I don't like about the cert gun. When you press and hold the trigger, the dot stays on. So, like, if you are a trigger reset kind of guy and you are doing precision shooting, and then you want to move to another target and reset the trigger, you get the swipes. But now, on the same token, if I want to point something out to a student and I say, hey, see that over there? All of a sudden, the pistol works out great versus a Blackbeard, which just goes, so there's that. Well, I mean, I guess the good news is, RJ, since Criterion does sell, I think they have a 14.5 that's mid-length, and they have a 13. I thought it was 13.6 for some reason. I don't know. I don't do the 13 bullshit. It might be 13.9. Probably whatever the common 13 length is for the long muzzle devices. I think that and below is the carbine gas length. And then their 18-inch is rifle gas length. And they're 20, I think. I'll find out when I go up there next week. Under a week, I'll be up there visiting them, and I'll get some more details on the core series. I know when you go to the website and look at them, it's like core carbine length gas systems, core mid-length gas systems, core rifle length gas systems. So that's how they divvy up the lengths of the barrels, by the gas system. Yes, you can turn the Blackbeard on full time, but if I'm using it correctly and want to just point something out, I have to get the tool, stick it in there, and click the switch to stay on. And then I can't turn it off without flipping off the switch. So that does work out well. If you have a visible laser on your gun, a visible aiming laser, You can Blackbeard momentarily, invisible laser, constant if you need to, like point at something. When the ACAL comes out, I'll have a visible laser on my guns that have night vision, but currently I don't. My sim gun that's right here that I bring to fish has an IR only laser and then a vampire light, which is probably the coolest, tiniest fucking night vision package available. It's actually fucking super slick. The downsides to it are the vampire isn't the most potent white light nor the most potent IR illuminator, and the Hollow Sun quick release mount is kind of suspect. Rick, hello, sir. Good to see that you are alive and kicking. I mean, I follow all your social media posts, so I know you're alive and kicking. But good to hear from you. Mark says Whip Machine for can. Yes, Whip Machine. They seem to be pretty cool. You know what they should do? They should send me a can to do a video review on. Mark, you know the guy. You should put him in touch with me because I already got to pay $200 for the tax stamp. I'm willing to pay that if they would like to send a can out for some demo use, like demonstrative uses. I got a buddy who just got his, what is it, the Type 7 SOT thing. If I ever convince him to employ me and make me a responsible person, then we can transfer it on like a form, what is it, like a Form 3, a shop to shop, and I can just be in possession of it when the shop has it. We don't have to pay that fucking $200 stamp and wait however long we got to wait. Although those times are getting really, really short. Dead air chemo for the win. No, that'd be FTL for the loss. You couldn't pay me to have a chemo mount on anything. It's just, it'd be like, here's a car with no brakes. It's safe. You'll be fine. Just downshift and hope for the best. That's what it's like with running a chemo. Unsafe. Fuck, we're way over an hour and I didn't have anything to talk about. And this is awesome. Chemo equals no-go. Bulletin's got it right. That's Mike Fiore, in case you guys weren't aware. He's on his business account today. RJ trying with his little trolling. Who said they need a can? Somebody up there said they need a can. Mr. Foreskin does and Steven does. So I have seen a tax stamp that was its approval or its submission and approval date were the same date. And from the shop that ran it through, it was 10:30 in the morning, 7 p.m. 10:30 in the morning, it was submitted. 7 p.m. it was approved. The fingerprints were done on paper. The form was e-filed and the paper prints needed to be mailed, and the form was approved and the prints weren't even in the envelope yet. They were still at the shop in the envelope waiting to be mailed. My local shop had a lot of good luck. They had better luck running paper prints than using the Silencer Shop kiosk. But they got one of the fingerprint machines, the digital fingerprint machines that isn't through Silencer Shop. I saw a picture of it on their Instagram. I have not stopped over and seen it yet. So that's pretty cool too. Adam, I could make a video about why I don't like chemo, but the easier thing to do, I don't know. I guess I really don't know the details that are in Mike's chemo video. So maybe the details that I think are in the video are things that he and I have talked about in person with his chemo suppressors. So maybe I could make a video. Maybe I should do that. I have to go back and watch Mike's videos. I have another video that Mike recorded the day his can blew up the second time, and we didn't post it because he was saltier than he normally is. It's the kind of video I would make, I just ran the camera, and he was on it, and then it was he said things that he doesn't normally speak like that in public, so he chose not to publish it. Oh, Adam Phillips says his SBR stamp took 1 week, and that's a Form 1. I haven't heard much about Form 1s and the approval times, but that's awesome. That's actually fantastic, because I have half my guns here SBR'd, and there's a couple more I'd be willing to do. Is that how that works in New Jersey, RJ? If you're a responsible person, you can be in possession of the can, but you can't if you're a private individual. You can't. I don't know. I don't know how Jersey bullshit works. I do know how vehicles work, and if you point it towards the west and step on the pedal on the right, in under an hour, you will be somewhere that you can buy a can. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. I'm not a fan of the AAC, either one of the mounts. I know the one had less teeth and one has more teeth, but they always get some wiggle jiggle in them. And I always feel concerned about the wiggle jiggle. I mean, I know that like shit can move around, and as long as, the hole in the middle is in the same spot, it doesn't matter what happens around it. But the fact that you can feel movement in it, I was always concerned. Oh, there you go. Only 25 minutes for you. I just knew if you were on the fucking east side of Newark, it's still under an hour to hit PA. So, like, I don't, you can't be more than an hour from Pennsylvania and still be in New Jersey. I mean, you can take longer than an hour to get there, but there is an escape route in under an hour. I see where you're going with RJ. So you could always do a trust and operate the trust in Pennsylvania, and then you just couldn't be in possession of it in Pennsylvania. But the trust, you could be a trustee on the trust. So whenever you were here, you could use a can. And it doesn't matter where you live when you do your Form 4, it would be on the trust. So like the trust has an address. You would be a responsible person on the trust. That's what you were RP, and I was thinking responsible person for like a shop. And you'd be a trustee on the trust. My favorite flash suppression, and I've seen some AAC flash hiders that were fucking worked well. The Vortex works well. Smith from Smith. The Yankee Hill Phantom works well. The Surefire 3-prong works well. I think I have a 3 and a 4-prong, and they both work well. My favorite is the Knight's Armament 3-prong flash hider. But fuck, it's so fucking expensive. Ugh. The thing I like about the Knight's Armament is it's the open pronged flash hiders seem to have better flash suppression than the ones that have a ring or something at the end of it to keep it from getting hung up or opening up. The Knight's does not have the ring at the end, and it doesn't, like the Phantom has a closed. It's not closed end, but it has like something up there to keep the prongs from spreading. The Knights doesn't have that, so it gets a little better flash suppression, and it also doesn't go picking after every shot, because the 3 prongs each weigh a different amount because they machine them differently. The downside, or the reason nobody else does that, is because they have a patent on a pronged flash hider that has prongs that weigh different amounts. So like some people would do flash hiders and they would machine like a flat spot in it, and they would put the flat spot in different spots, like at the front, in the middle, and at the back on the 3 different prongs, so that it wouldn't resonate as well. But making them all different amounts of mass is the better way to make them not resonate, or close the end. That makes them not resonate at all. But then you have the closed end, which doesn't, it degrades the flash suppression a smidgen. I'm not a big fan of comps because they make a big pile of fire. Do you know of any hub mount flash hiders that don't suck? Well, isn't the idea that the hub mount is that you can put a different ass in the back of the hub? Like the hub suppressor has multiple options, so then you could change it to something else. Isn't that how that hub system works? Because then you could put a direct thread back on it and just direct thread the can to the barrel and leave it there like you should, unless you're rebarreling the gun or you blow it up because it's chemo. They're so quick to detach. They detach in the first 10 rounds of firing after putting it on the gun, which makes it great for sending it back. Yeah, the pings, I don't often notice it when people have it. I usually notice it when I'm teaching. Because like I'm watching a dude and I'm listening to see, a lot of times I'm listening to see what he's doing with his trigger. Like, is he resetting the trigger? And so I'm focusing on the shooter and not what's happening at the other end. Like I'll look at that in a moment. And that's when I hear the ping from the shooter, from the student's guns. Oh, the JP is making the BE Myers one. The BE Myers one for the 249 was the second best flash hider I've ever seen for flash hiding, behind the Knight's Armament. But equally as expensive, because anything BE Myers makes, like Knight's, is super overpriced. The battle comp that Mr. Forskin's talking about fits the Gemtech. There is the Gemtech, the 2-lug system. Was that from their G5 or G something series? That seemed pretty all right, but I did like the Halo that fit any standard A2 birdcage, because there was a bunch of companies that made the dimensions of their flash hiders and brakes the same so that the Halo would fit on it. There was a Smith Vortex that had the same outer dimensions as an A2, so it fit a Halo on it, which was pretty cool. Yeah, Aiden, I'm not like, you're looking for something that I don't use. Like all my rifles that have a muzzle device on them never get a can, and all my rifles that get cans direct thread onto the barrel because I don't take them off. So like if this rifle over here has a flash hider on it. If I wanted to put a can on it, I would take the flash hider off and screw the can on, and I would never take the can off. So in the meantime, since it's not getting a can, I'm just going to pick a flash hider that works well and stick it on there. So if I wanted to be able to put a can on and off, and then I was looking for a flash hider that worked with that can, I don't know. I don't know why people take their cans off. So I'm not sure. I've never looked into it because it was a need that I couldn't even fantasize about having. Either way, we are like a fucking hour and a half into this. I ran out of fucking lemonade like an hour ago. Next week, I'll give you guys updates from the cool shit that we see out at Midwest Industries, and maybe I'll have the video ready on Wednesday as well. Talk about what we saw at Criterion. That video will probably come out a week or so later because I don't want to double drop videos on the same day. So we'll do the Midwest video as soon as I get it edited. I'm not driving on the way back, so if I have my laptop with me, maybe I could edit the video in the truck. Probably not. But I'll get that video edited promptly and up, and then we'll talk about it on next Wednesday's live chat. Maybe we'll do an update on this weekend's invite-only night vision study group thing we're doing. We should have a good time there. We got some new radios to play with, so maybe if there's any update on the radios, my radio expert can join me in the live chat and talk about it if he wants to. He's not obligated at all to do that. I know he's watching, so. So with that, I think it's about time to pop smoke, call for an extract, whatever some cool guy saying is. And I'll see you all in a week. Check the Instagrams tomorrow, and maybe we'll see what this rifle back here can do with a magnified optic on it. And we'll go from there. So you all take it easy, and I'll see you in a week.